Welcome. I don't know why I have to keep taking deep breaths today. I don't know what's up with that. Sorry, I got this new microphone. The little cord keeps if you can see it over here. I'll just try not to move. Oof. Anyway, okay. Hi. So if you're here, you are a 3-5 or a martyr heretic profile. And if you don't know, and if you would like to know what your profile is, along with a lot of other great information about yourself, there's a link in my description below to get your human design chart. So I pulled a post from Jess Field's Instagram. I took a course with her a few years ago or last year. I'm like, time isn't even real anymore since COVID. I have no clue. When is what? What is when? But anyway, I'll link her Instagram below if you want to check it out. She posts a lot of great stuff about human design. And this particular post, of course, had to do with the profiles. So it says, with a 3 in your profile, you are brilliant at finding the one small thing that doesn't work in any given scenario. Some might call you the natural quality control check. When you find the piece that doesn't work, give yourself permission to report back to the rest of the world. We are waiting for your insight. And with a 5 in your profile, other people likely see you as the hero to their story. Don't be afraid to pick up the torch and say, hey, let's go this way. Just make sure the torch you are picking up is the one you want to carry. You don't have to be all things to all people. Love that. So yeah, like I said, I will link her Instagram in my description below if you want to find her on Instagram and see what other resources she has. And of course, we'll get on to the tarot message. Shuffle with a little more intention here. We're looking for a message for our martyr heretics. There we go. Okay. Alrighty. We have the 6 of Swords, the Knight of Swords, 3 of Wands, 4 of Cups, 8 of Cups, and the Chariot. Very interesting. And the Moon at the bottom of the deck. Okay. Very interesting. First of all, I just want to say that I am obsessed with the fact that we have this card at the beginning and this card at the end. So, let's talk about it. We start with the 6 of Swords, of course. And the 6 of Swords, well, swords in general have to do with our thoughts, how we perceive our realities. I see them as being the card of ego also, because it's generally where we hear our egos in our minds. And the 6 of Swords talks about moving forward. feel like, I'm just curious. Let's see. The Six of Swords carries an energy that is slightly dispirited. It's the energy present on cold gray Sunday afternoons during the winter months when I wonder why I moved to Seattle and not someplace sunnier. There really isn't anything bad happening, but there also isn't much excitement either way. Life is moving on and it isn't horrible. A situation that didn't pan out how you had hoped may trigger moments of regret. But with acceptance, the past will drift away and new adventure will begin to unfurl. The Six of Swords asks that you give space and time for low vibrational feelings, time to surface, so that you can gain a clear vision for a more positive path. You may not be experiencing a great deal of enthusiasm, but at least you are moving in the right direction. When you need to feel at peace at a slower pace, when you need to feel protected from negative self-talk or outside influences that jeopardize perseverance, call upon the turtle. A creature that can ride the waves and follow the currents for thousands of miles, knowing a thing... Oh. A creature that can ride the waves and follow the currents for thousands of miles, knows a thing or two about patience and letting go of the need for speed. The turtle asks that you use the time to gain perspective and not rush through life. Otherwise, you may miss some crucial moments. I love that. It's also like almost very like manifesting generator. Taking your time, not skipping steps, you know. Not that we always ever do that, but, you know, awareness. And I love the turtle. I also love how in this card specifically, there's this one sword up here. You can see that, hopefully. And it's like pointing in that direction. And to the right side of the card is the future. The left side of the card is the past in tarot. So it's moving forward. And then we have the Five of Swords down here in the past, but also I love how it's like, you know, we're leaving this behind. It's kind of like, you know, like they're caught in the seaweed there, because the Five of Swords generally talks about mental conflict. There's competition. I see it as being like a battle of wits, usually. But fives are conflict cards. You know, it talks about transition. And sometimes there's conflict with change or transition. So I love that the Five of Swords is being left behind here. And it's like the Ace of Swords, because 1 + 5 is 6, right? But the Ace of Swords is guiding you forward. And the Ace of Swords is the sword of truth. It's honesty. It's even divine truth. But it talks about new ideas, new perspectives. And I also love how, you know, we just read about the Six of Swords and it relates so much to the Four of Cups. And two, like in this depiction of the Four of Cups, there's this one cup here and there's 3 cups down here. Same way as there's 5 swords here and 1 sword up here. And this, I can't remember what that thing is called. Pangolin? I don't know what that is. But, you know, I mean, it looks like it's kind of hanging from something and it's curling up and looking at the Ace of Cups there and not even really paying attention to the 3 cups down there. So, I mean, there was either nothing that they liked in the 3 of Cups, Or, like there's kind of like this lethargy, bored, apathetic energy that comes with the Four of Cups. Because it's kind of like, and cups having to do with our emotions, right? How we feel about our environment, how we feel about ourselves, how we feel about what we're spending our time doing, how we feel about even our thoughts. And this is like, again, either you don't like what's in here and hoping for, kind of something else to come in, because this is on a cloud here, right? So it's almost like, it's being offered to you. So it could be a divine offering, like kind of coming out of the universe. Somebody else could be offering it to you. But it's kind of like, that's what you're waiting for. Or that's what maybe you feel like you're missing or like leaving behind, these 3 cups. I also think that's interesting that all these cards down here are emotion. It's like these are the emotions that you have about what's happening. Up here, we have the Knight of Swords. Again, the Ace of Swords here. Right? So it goes from being up here and being directional to there. And I believe this is a barracuda. But the Knight of Swords talks about putting an idea into action, like testing its integrity, testing the weight of it. Are these perceptions that you have, these ideas that you have, do they hold water? Literally. With the cups down here. And, the swords cards are also very logical. There's a bit of, like this need to be objective with swords, because it's like dealing in fact. So it's interesting that with both of the swords cards, there's feeling cards with them. So it's like whatever is going on in your mind, sinking down into your feels, and how do you feel about the thing? You could be moving forward because of this apathetic, bored, kind of emotion, like not feeling like you're getting from the situation what you want. Resting on your truth here, putting your truth into practice. And then we have the Eight of Cups, which is about leaving behind what is no longer serving you. Because what comes after the Eight of Cups, of course, is a Nine of Cups. So it's moving towards what makes you happy. What is your wish fulfillment? What makes you feel purposeful? You know what is so interesting too? All of these cards on the top are moving to the right, which is moving towards the future. All of these cards on the bottom are looking to the left, looking to the past. I just find that to be interesting. So it's almost kind of like one part of you is trying to move forward, and your emotions are kind of stuck in the past. Or your emotions are being like driven by prior experiences. And I love too, I just saw this on this card. There's a shooting star here. And again, like I said, with the next card coming up after this as the Nine of Cups, wishing on a star. And then the Nine of Cups is, that wish fulfillment. Oh my goodness. And I love this because this is saying that maybe you are walking away from this, so by moving forward with this Knight of Swords, because, the Knight of Swords is generally depicted as moving quickly. It's almost kind of like sometimes they don't even think, they just do. And sometimes that can cause a bit of trouble. So it's also kind of like, not getting stuck in like your own thought or what you believe to be true. But, you have that third line of trial and error. So, allowing that to lead, right? Like discoveries, making and breaking bonds. Like it's all about, gaining experience. Leaving what no longer serves. The Eight of Cups brings to the surface feelings that arise from examining your current status in life and discovering something is missing. There's almost a hollowness that comes with the energy of the Eight of Cups, an emptiness that is waiting to be filled. You may notice that your current situation no longer leaves you feeling nourished and excited. Absolutely. The Knight of Swords says, okay, take a minute, get the song out of your head. Ooh, Barracuda. Have you ever encountered a person who is as sharp as a tack? Someone who can grasp the most complex of subjects within a few minutes, and at the same time seems to lack any sense of humility and compassion. This is a person who may not be aware of how opinionated they come off or how sharp their words cut. When someone is focused on the facts and only the facts, social cues go out the door. See, yeah, like I love the fact that they're both paired with emotion cards. And maybe, it's this way because of how you are perceiving your life, like where you're at in life, what's been going on lately. And if there is one thing about a 3-5, they will drop some truth on people that it's true, but it may not feel very good. Speaking of truth here with the Ace of Swords, like in both, it talks about honesty, it talks about truth. Maybe it's even time to get honest with yourself about your feelings, because then we have the three of both of these cards are moving forward. The Three of Wands is deciding what you're going to do, how you're going to do it. And it's like taking that step forward. It talks about broadening your horizons. Of course, 2 wands are about action, communication, information even. Like I see it as, either giving or receiving information. And that helps you even determine how you're going to go about doing a thing. It would have been funny if this would have been a 5. But I also love how we start with the 6 of Swords and we end with the 7. So there's a progression here. Even though that they're different suits, there's still a progression. And like I said, movement forward, because the Chariot is movement forward. It's almost like being universally guided. Like you are going to be put exactly where you need to be. Just by making this decision to move forward, maybe even to get involved with a thing. Maybe you are bored. And maybe that's because Maybe that's because at some point you felt the burn of that fifth line, because that fifth line comes with a projection field, right? Again, like it said, I know it uses the word hero, and I'm skeptical about using that word because I'm a 5-1. I'm a 3-5 in sidereal human design. I don't think many people mess around with sidereal human design, but I can't escape that damn fifth line is the point. And it, you have that projection. So not only do you have the trial and error that comes with that third line, like you were literally created and designed to make mistakes, purposeful, intentional mistakes, because that's the way that you figure out what actually works, by figuring out or discovering what doesn't, right? But then you have that fifth line, and that's where, people project onto you that you can step in and be a leader or a general, I think is how the definitive book of human design said it. Jess Fields uses the word hero, but it's a projection, right? People are projecting what they believe they see in you. That very well could be true, right? Like you could step into a situation, and bringing it back to this, like maybe you did at some point, you stepped into a situation and that fifth line projection field got you. Like I said, you felt the burn of that fifth line, because I think one of the talents or one of the things to master with that fifth line is recognizing that you step in, you do your part, and then you step the F out. Like, it may not be that you step in from beginning to end, right? And if you overstay, that's when that projection field can kick in, and people will just turn on you seemingly out of the blue, right? And I feel like nobody ever really talks about that except for other fifth lines, because they'll use words like hero. So, it's relying on your strategy and authority to help you determine what situations are correct for you to step into. But also your strategy and authority is going to guide you out of those situations when your time is done. And part of the practice is recognizing when it is time to step away, regardless of if other people feel like you're done or not. When you feel like you're done, you're not. Because again, it says you don't have to be all things to all people. And just because you feel like you can doesn't mean you should. Strategy and authority. Strategy and authority. That's my tangent. Because it almost kind of, like if there was a situation and you're just like, I'm not doing that ever again. But it's also kind of like that third line needs to be stimulated. Like you just have to have your hands in something, right? Like you have to be picking something apart or whatever, right? That's just what you do. And maybe, you've been resisting that. Maybe you've been doing some research, whatever the case may be. Maybe you've been working through this past experience, whatever it is. This 8 of Cups is like, okay, it's kind of time to come out of that, move forward here. And I love that this is even a 3, going back to that martyr thing, right? Like, I'm sorry. I get like burpy while I'm doing these messages. So I apologize if I have to keep stopping And I also love how this bird looks like it's like literally surfing on this wand, while this other bird is probably like, there's Larry doing some wild shit again. I love it. And, you know, I mean, the chariot, again, it's going to move forward. And, you know, we have the moon at the bottom of the deck, and it's kind of like, maybe you don't know what's going to happen next. Maybe that's part of the problem. Because you don't know what's going to happen next. Here's that 5 I was talking about. But it's also kind of interesting because we have this wolf, or coyote, I think is actually what this is. There's this fish that's coming out of the trash. So it probably actually got loose because this coyote knocked over the trash there. And we have this caterpillar that just wants to get into its cocoon, but it can't because this damn owl is in the way. You know, the 5 of Pentacles talks about lack. And maybe, you know, again, like maybe you can't see the outcome. Maybe you can't see a way forward. But the Ace of Damn Swords, what have we been talking about with these two? Here it is, the Sword of Truth. You rest on your truth. You know who you are. And if you don't, you better find out. Because if there's anything also about a 5th line, part of the gift I feel of the 5th line is that you know yourself so deeply that nobody can tell you who they are or who you are. Nobody can project on you who you are because you know who you are. And you know that so deeply that anytime anybody has a projection about you and you know it to not be true, it doesn't even affect you, which is the Queen of Swords. Again, with this damn Ace of Swords here, like, oof, truth all over the place. 6 of Pentacles, 3 of Pentacles, Strength, the Knight of Pentacles. Like, I also find it curious that all of the Pentacle cards are like under the deck here. Give and take, reciprocity, but not overgiving, boundaries. 3 of Pentacles, working with other people, strength, determination. The Knight of Pentacles, moving forward slowly. The Queen of, I mean, I can keep going, but this will be like forever long. It's time to move. That, you know, maybe that is physically, but it's time to move forward. I'm going to end it there. Thank you so much for allowing me to read your cards. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.